Hey guys, hope you're doing well and taking care of yourselves. Today I want to talk about the SQL merge statement, and I want to mostly talk about like how to use them, what they're for, and do we even really need them. So SQL merge statements is basically it's a combination of an insert and update statement that allows you to do both statements together by checking a certain condition, and based on this condition you could then perform an action. So for instance, if you have a lot of entries from some company, and then you're merging this company to your new company, when you merge the two sets together, one of the first things you want to do is you want to import all the records from the first company into your new company. At this point, it'll get the target table that you want, look for the differences between the source and the target, and then start doing all the inserts for the conditions that it doesn't meet, and it'll do all the updates for the conditions that it does meet, giving you an output table that will tell you all of the different kinds of actions that it did and why did it do those actions. So what SQL merge statements are for is they end up taking like two tables, and it allows you to combine both tables. And based on the condition, it'll either insert missing records, update existing records, or delete records from the first table onto the second table. It then gives you the option, if you want to use it, to spit out an output table, which tells you, hey, here's what I did with record 1, I inserted, with record 2, I updated, record 3, I deleted. And if it's an inserted update, it can then give you the information, if you want it, as far as what exactly was it updating and why did it do that. Now, for merge statements, I think they're relatively useful when it comes to things like audit tables, or if you want to maintain audit history, or the change of data, as previously talked about in a previous video. Going into the previous video about like audit tables and audit history, if you actually care about the change of data, then that stuff will actually help you out a ton. But apart from that, and the one-off like mergers that may happen either from an import, most of the time what I would do is I would just separate the merge statement into one insert statement and an update statement. And the reason why I would do that is because merge statements end up being a little bit more like they're just a little bit harder to code. And the second reason is because they're not as cleanly to use or to debug, whereas an insert and update, you know exactly what you're getting for an insert statement, you know exactly what you're getting with an update statement, So if you don't need the audit history, if you don't need the output that's going out from it, and you don't need more than like a one-off like merge update, just use an insert or an update. That'll be much easier than using a merge statement. I'm going to show you an example. Now, if you guys want to follow along or see the code yourself, there will be a link inside the description that will take you to the GitHub repository that has a reference to the code in there if you just want to take a look at it, or if you want to like copy it yourself. All right, when going over merge statements, they can look a little bit more overwhelming than when you first start to implement it or start to use it the first time. But as you use it, you do realize what the structure is, and it starts to become a little bit easier to understand and easier to use. So the first thing I want to point out is this right here is pretty much the entire merge statement. But when you look at it, it kind of looks like a lot. The whole purpose of this procedure here is that I want to be able to execute statements where I can actually feed information to the stored procedure. And it's because I wanted to just be able to handle brand new inserts if it doesn't exist, or I wanted to be able to handle new updates when it doesn't exist. It's one or the other. Here, we'll start from the very top. The P now gets the datetime of right now. The P user ID pretty much checks, hey, based on the email, do I actually have a user ID or do I not? And then this third part is a table declaration. The reason I'm using this is so that when the statement is actually executed in the end, we can actually see an output to see, hey, how does this look like? And the table declaration ends up being assigned at the end, but we can ignore that for the moment. This statement we can ignore, but actually we can take a look at it. This is just the users that we have inside the database right now. That's just so we have something to compare against. But the very first part of the merge statement is right up here. So for a merge statement to work, you're actually combining two separate tables together. However, I'm not combining a table, I'm feeding data. So I need to make a fake table basically. So normally as a source, what I'm doing is I'm just making a straight select statement that's just feeding all the values that I am feeding to a stored procedure at the very beginning, at the very top. And then I'm titling that as my source. Anyway, you can see the whole select statement right here. This is my source table, even though it's just like one row with the values that I fed it to. Then I'm putting my condition right here that gives me a source and a target. So then the target is actually the users table that we just took a look at. So just for reference again, that's the users table. And I'm putting my condition. So I'm saying when there is a match, then I want to do a update. So how do I know there's a match? So the match is based off this information. It's saying, hey, well, actually, no, the match is actually based on this condition. And this condition says, hey, match it by user ID. So if the user ID is matched and I have found a match, then I want to validate that match by the first name, last name, last name. Basically, I'm checking for a change. And if one of those things come to true, then I want you to update that record set based on the ID. When you update, you're going to update all the new information. You're going to update the last updated on because, well, it just got updated. If there isn't a match, then what I want you to do is commit an insert. So then you're going to do a regular insert statement the exact same way as you would normally. And then you're going to feed all the values from the source table because they're going to go inside your target table. And this gives you all that, you just do the insert basically the exact same way inside the merge. Now, when all that's said and done, you don't necessarily need this last portion. What you already have here will give you everything that you need. However, this very final portion, it gives you the output. It tells you, here are the actions that I performed. Here is the insert that I performed. Here's the user ID that I performed. And that's pretty much it. If you want more details where it tells you, hey, was this value inserted? Was this value deleted? You can have the output statement give you all that information and then create an audit table out of that. If you care about the change of history, it's very good for that. Now, the other important thing to know is that, like, if you only care about updates, you can have it do only updates. If you only care about inserts, you can have it do only inserts as well. I could actually take this whole thing out and then have it only do when not matched by target. And what this merge statement will do now is it'll only handle inserts, and it'll give me the output information that I'm asking for. In which case, this will work the exact same way as well. Anyway, for example purposes, let's actually execute this. And let's just do it that way. I ran it the first time. I got this entry inserted. But now when I ran it the second time, it didn't give me any information because nothing happened. Nothing got updated. The email's already there. You know, it didn't treat it as a new statement. Now, let's make this remake season 7. Season 7 does not exist in there. It gives me a brand new action because of the output table, and it says insert, what the idea of it is, where it got inserted, and I forgot what type was. What I put for type? Oh, I guess I just put the user ID in there. Okay, yeah. Type is not very clear. Anyway, you can see that this one actually got inserted in there. Now, let's rename this to Tyrion. I hope I spelled that right. Anyway, the email stayed the same, so it should still use the exact same email ID for user ID 6. And what should happen is it should update record number 6 to Tyrion, and the output should appear as update. Yeah. So right there, the action now tells me update. And then we now have this one as Tyrion Lannister, season 7. And we have you can see right here too. Actually cannot make it closer, but you can see that the timestamps are different on there. Thank you for watching the video. I appreciate it. If you liked the video, please hit like and subscribe. I will be making more videos like this, SQL, C#, .NET, and video game development. If you have any topics that you want me to go over, feel free to leave a comment and I will be sure to take a look at it. Anyway, until next time, be safe, take care of yourselves, and laters.